Hi, I'm Marc Sumner, CEO and founder of Robertson Sumner. Welcome to the Channel Chat podcast, where we will share learnings, best practices and failures with some of the biggest names in the IT industry.
As a small reseller, how do you go about sourcing stuff when there's no products or services in the market? What do you do?
Well, it's just constantly hunting. We've got lots of alerts on distributors. People like Tech Data have got alerts on there, so you can see when a product's coming in. It'll email you to let you know it's coming in. So I think it's just setting people's expectations. We had a customer ring the other day, and they desperately needed 100 laptops. There just wasn't 100 laptops the same in stock. So for them to create images and send them out to individuals, in the end, we sold them desktops. We just sold them mini Lenovo desktops, the tiny little ones, because if they go into someone's house, they're only a cheap £300 desktop. It's almost disposable these days, isn't it? But people taking anything. People taking Windows XP home, or Windows 10 home, just about anything they can get, really. And you look at some of the tier 2 brands that we never sell, people are buying those as well. Normally it's the top 4 that we sell into the corporates. People just taking anything, really.
Yeah, because I don't think anyone could have predicted the speed, Vince, of what happened. 3 weeks ago, it was potentially just a flu virus. Everyone was not so worried. Then it was like, God, we've all got to work from home. So how have your customers, or how are you adapting yourselves and your customers adapting to home working, and what sort of kit has been in supply?
Well, the thing is, for us, it's been most of my sales guys work from home regularly anyway, and the key people have had laptops and desktops anyway. So we've got some specialised applications where they'll talk together, and they're just remote desktoping in when they need to do the clever tasks. So I think it's difficult. Not all customers can work from home, and fun enough, we've actually got an account manager that works for a big distributor. He was working from home one day, didn't actually have a laptop. It's like, brilliant. So he was trying to do everything from his phone, which wasn't working very well. He's got a laptop now. So,
and in terms of, obviously, from a culture point of view, how are you sort of maintaining sort of engagement of your staff and culture and making sure everyone is it? How are you actually going about doing that?
Well, we're using Teams, and we've got a WhatsApp group as well, which admittedly is probably there's more jokes on there than there is business things. So we just keep a morale, isn't it? I think, and whenever we're finding stock, we've got groups where we can send out the email to say, look, we found this stock. We had a customer the other day who was looking for a couple of hundred Logitech webcams, and another customer was looking for them as well. So we've got 2 sales guys chatting to each other so they could find them, between them.
Yeah. Do you think obviously you had an office in Burnham, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, what sort of square footage did you have? Is it quite big or is it small or what?
We've got about 4,000 square foot in an old manor house, a chapel.
That's a lot, though, isn't it? That's a lot.
I had to pop in there yesterday. I turned the heating down because it was very hot when I went in there. So
but that's a lot of square footage, isn't it? Really, for would you? Because I was looking at a lot of companies sort of saying, do you think that will now change? Because I was actually looking at myself and thinking, I've got 2,500 square. Maybe it's those 3,000 square foot I think I've got. Yeah. And I was thinking about actually getting a bigger office next year. Now I'm thinking, no, I won't bother. Actually, we'll just use the same office and just get more people working remotely. And I can use, if I've got 22 desks, I can still get 30, 40 people in there at the moment, or something like that. So are you sort of thinking the same? Would you sort of like, do you think people will start doing a bit more remote working now and not go to bigger offices, etc.?
It's a good morale, and we have a real laugh when we're in the office. It's nice when you've got everyone in the office. There's all the office banter and things you don't get, and it is a bit boring if you're sitting at home day in, day out, as people are finding now. But I think what's going to happen is I think a lot of big organisations are going to review it, where they're paying massive money for premium rate office space in central London, where they're thinking that, because people are going to get up, they're going to go sit down in front of their laptop with their dressing gown at 7 o'clock in the morning. Admittedly, the other day at 12 o'clock, I was still sitting there with my dressing gown on. It was only when it got changed when I had a team meeting. But I think you find that people are a bit more productive sometimes, because you'll work that 2 hours that some people are spending in a car driving to the office and back and sitting in traffic. They'll be working. They prefer to do that. And I think that a lot of the office space in London will probably be converted into. It'll probably cure the problem with the lack of houses in London, because all the office space will be taken from apartments. Yeah,
I was thinking myself. I was thinking, I'd like to obviously expand, or was thinking about expanding until this crisis came out. And I'm now sort of thinking, maybe WeWorks or Regis, where I've got the flexibility, because, having that fixed cost when suddenly I'm paying for that fixed cost and so are you, and no one's actually in the building. It's just crazy at the moment. So it's one of the,
we have got a lovely office, and we pay. It's a lot more expensive than you normally pay for office space because we're in 27 acres of land with a helicopter pad and a little golf tee. So it is a beautiful office, and everyone that comes here takes photos because there's no chapel, so it's very pretty. It's a chapel on the side of a manor house, but it is lovely. You wander outside, and if I'm cold calling people, I just wander around the grounds, and there's wild deer, and actually there was a horse, miniature horse in our grounds the other day. It wandered in from next door. So, British rabbits and all sorts of things running around.
Yeah, and what's been your sort of view from the sort of the vendors? Are they increasing their communication to you, or is there any communication from sort of distribution, or how's it been throughout the channel?
There's been a huge amount of communication. I think everyone's just probably settling down at the moment. Everyone's getting used to working from home. So I was only thinking that this morning that because one thing you need to know, you can't just rely on looking online and seeing what's there, because obviously everyone's going to be everything's going to be on back order these days. So you need to know that if there's two particular part numbers, you can order one or the other one. Which one's coming in first? So we've been engaging with the distributors, what's coming, and the manufacturers as well, saying what product is coming into stock. And funny enough, there are some big shipments of stuff coming in. We've got a client at the moment what's about 3,000 laptops. So it's just speaking to the vendors, which one has got them coming in. And funny enough, this particular customer wouldn't necessarily take this vendor because it's not one of the tier ones, but they're going to be in quicker than the other ones.
Yeah, absolutely. Suddenly a tier 1, tier 3, tier 3, and tier 2 and tier 3 can suddenly become a tier 1 at the moment. It's like
exactly. Well, if you've got a warehouse for the product, you're laughing because people just take wherever they can, really, because people need to work from home. And although most people, I think it works probably if you've got virtual desktops where you can just deploy an app to someone and they can do it on their own home laptop or desktop, then it benefits you. You can even plug a thin client in and off you go.
Yeah, because do you know what? It's funny. I've got my desktop from my office at home now, and I'm trying to fit in my Wi-Fi, and I don't know what I'm doing. It's literally, I feel like I haven't got headsets. I've got my actual Jabra speaker, which is great.
Yeah,
I've got my desktop, and it's almost like, God, we just haven't got a clue about homework, and we just never even thought. All we had in our entire company was 3 laptops, and one of them was for the Channel Chat podcast, the Apple Mac, to make sure that was going. So we've absolutely been, hit with like a brick wall of this. But in terms of actual basic things that people need to think about, and basic things that the stock they need to think about, if they're going to deploy a home working office and situation, what sort of stuff do they actually need to have? Do you think?
Well, everyone obviously needs a laptop or a desktop, I suppose. And you need a phone. And the trouble is, some people working from home don't have any signal where they live.
Yeah, because I don't have any signal. It's terrible.
Yeah, well, actually, you can buy boosters. So I don't get any signal in my house. I've got a new house. It's got steels everywhere. When I moved back in, there was no signal, but you can get a booster. So I've got an O2 booster box, which they will give you one free. I've actually got one in the office as well. So, but the signal goes from nothing to full signal when you plug that in. It just plugs into the internet and off it goes. But you have to register your. Sorry,
you call up O2, do you? Just they'll send it out.
Yeah, O2. Most people do it. EE do it as well, and they register your phone numbers. So any phone numbers of friends or family, you register the numbers there, and it seems to work really well. For before it was a nightmare. I'd be ringing people and just couldn't get hold of people. I've got nine Wi-Fi routers around my house to make sure I've got lots of signal as well. So
yeah,
but
I need to do something like that. My signal's terrible. It's really, really bad. It's
yeah.
And my signal on my phone's terrible as well. So hopefully, even though I recruit for technology, I still don't know how the tools to technology to actually speak to anyone, which is bloody mad. So I need to sort it out for sure.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, when I was looking to move many years ago, I actually went to a little village in the middle of nowhere, and there was no phone signal, and that stopped me buying a house there. So I thought, I can't wait.
Yeah, well, it's a waste of time otherwise, isn't it? If you can't communicate, you need even if you have the tools, if you can't communicate, you've got a signal, can't work.
Yeah. But you guys must be struggling as well, because obviously, times like this, I know you're looking for salespeople for us at the moment, but if you give me a new sales guy, you can be sitting there twiddling his thumbs because there's limited products at the moment.
It's honestly, it's a tsunami. Yeah, it's terrible, because I've had to put 10 of them on furlough yesterday. Yeah. There's just no work. There's just no work. Well, no, that's a lie. There is work. But the sort of general stuff where people are sort of like tentatively looking, they're thinking, actually, shall I just start them in July or August? And that's what's going to happen. So the next, we're okay for, say, April, because we had obviously a pipeline that we were closing out, but May, we've got nothing.
Yeah, well, I suppose it'll give people the opportunity to move into different markets. Fun enough, a friend of mine rang me the other day and he said, I know you've got some big clients and some big customers. He said that, is there an opportunity for things like hand sanitizer and face masks and things like that? And fun enough, one of our clients is a massive petrol station. So I spoke to their procurement guy. I said, run this past you guys if they want to sell this in their petrol stations.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think that's that's the one thing that potentially we're potentially doing is like thinking, right, well, let's engage with our existing clients. This is what's happening. Obviously, can we do anything else? Can we offer other services? The thought of doing net new business. If someone obviously comes with net new business, yeah, I take it. But I'm certainly not doing cold calling, saying, do you want any sales guys at the moment when they're thinking, actually, I might be on a ventilator next week. So,
yeah. So I don't need these salespeople. You come around and cut the grass.
Yeah.
Windows cleaning as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just one of those things, isn't it? But
going back to remote users, if any users out there need remote access, Google Chrome do a free remote desktop app that works really well. And fun enough, I gave it a trial the other day. I don't use it myself, but I tested it in the office, and on my phone, I managed to get everything on my PC, even a database for doing our quotes system and things like that. You would never get. I could do it all on my phone.
So you can use, say that again, you can use Google Chrome for what?
Yeah, Google Chrome remote desktop. If you just Google it in Google Chrome, it'll download. It's a free thing. You just take over your PC. If you've got a desktop in the office, it'll mirror it. And I could even mirror my PC on my phone, and it seemed to work quite well.
Okay, some of the listeners might be interested in that. That'll be good. Okay, and how's things in general? Obviously for you, partners, the demand is obviously through the roof. It's just getting the kit and getting the product out there, I suppose, and finding.
Just find enough product, and what you find is, you spot a distributor that's only got a couple hundred laptops, and by the time you've quoted your customer, they've gone. So you've got to take a snap decision on them. Really, you need to just like stocks and shares, need to buy them. I'll take them. So webcams are in massive shortage as well at the moment. The NHS rang me yesterday; they needed a couple of hundred urgently. It's just finding stock. But we just engage with all the manufacturers and say, when's your product coming in, and it's a huge demand for it.
Thanks for joining us and listening to another episode of our Channel Chat podcast. If you've enjoyed what you've heard and are listening on iTunes, please could you give us a review and subscribe in order to get the newest episodes as soon as they're released. Otherwise, as always, we release an episode every Thursday at midday, so hopefully you can join us then.